to when they say, how was it like to be a refugee? Or when you didn't have parents, or all of this, how did you overcome that? We are resilient people as human, and that's the beauty of mankind. Yeah, that you can always dream in the middle of unimaginable suffering. Once somebody have been through hardship and they come out of that, they will never be the same person like before the hardship. But I think we turn to focus on negative, but we don't turn to focus on the strength that a person might have been developed during that time. And it's interesting why we don't see that, because the most precious and expensive stone of the world have to go through that grinding. And I love the Japanese way of preserving broken things. Where they take like a broken cup or a clay or a pot, and they will put gold or diamond between where a crack, and then they say the object become more beautiful because of enduring that. So if we can see that, if we can see countries that have been through war, if we can see people that have been through hardship, and say that, but they make it, they're beautiful, and focus more on that, I think there would be more change. Oh, it's down here, right? To be able to see my book in print, I was just like, wow, they were thought in my mind and my experience, but now it's out there in the world for others people to have access to it, for others people to learn, listen from it. And I just love the book cover that I'm wearing, the Dinka corset on it. I'm proud of it, I feel like writing my book, What They Meant for Evil, was a way for me to really put an end to complete on my healing. Because I was born in Sudan, was there till I was 6, then grew up in a refugee camp, and then moved here when I was 15. I was part of the Lost Boy, Lost Girl program, which was, I didn't have my parent, I lost my parent in a war. My book covered a lot of things, right? So it covered my life in a village before war come, and then life in a refugee camp, and then coming to United States, and then resettling and as a refugee becoming an American citizen, dealing with American life as a black person, like really that grew up in Africa. Does my hardship experience make me more like anxious or like dreadful? No, it make me more like, it make me more thoughtful actually. You can never understand what somebody have been through if you've never been through that. So judge less and just listen more. And so sometimes I find in my new home, which is the United States, that people judge harshly sometimes. And it's like, this, you cannot judge harshly when you've never been through that. All you can do is listen well, love well, and try to do what is just, and try to be a student. And I just feel like, because I'm a curious person, like those things I know they happen. It's not like I'm denying them. But at the same time, I know there's so much beauty and so much to learn in the world than just one event or war, So yeah, I think I have just always been like that as a kid, like always curious, and I'm always asking questions. Yeah, so even like this one here, this is beautiful, it's so pretty. And actually it's in turquoise, which is my favorite color. So yeah, What They Meant for Evil was just that beautiful thing where I just laid it out, and then now I'm free to dream, to draw, to write. I'm not going to water down the suffering. It's always going to be there, but I think will be a lot lighter in some of my writing that will be upcoming. But then also leaning always toward the mystery of redemption, and because I feel that like it's there in the nature, we are here in East Grand Rapids Library, and we look outside, it's so dry and there's no life, there's no green, but then in the spring it come back. So always that idea is what I want to keep expressing. So I arrived in the United States in November 6th of 2000, and then it was shortly like few days after my arrival that it started snowing. And honestly, I thought it was ending of the world because I have never seen any snow in my entire life. When it started pouring down this white fluffy thing, I thought it's the end of the world. But anyway, it turned out to be snow. So right now we are at what they call the Botanical Garden and Maya Garden. And this place is the warmest place you can be. And I love it because Michigan winters are so long here. And the smell of flowers, which is really just everything I love, you know, the plants, the smell, the people walking by, just seeing people's faces cheering up. I love being here. My love for greenery started in my own home village in South Sudan, in Dukpadir. My grandmother had a beautiful garden, and I think my love for gardens and for plants and for variety of plants or food, I have learned it, I think, when I was ages 0 to 5. That's when I was in a village, consecutively with my grandmother. It's in my mind more like pictures, but I just always remember seeing her planting something, picking something, making food out of plant, arranging plants, you know, like flowers. Look at this beautiful. Yeah. Isn't this so cool? Just having that beauty in my early years shaped how I view the world. Even if there's always dry season or like thorny season or any of those things, I always, it is ingrained in my head that there's beauty more than disaster.
Yeah. Can I spice in? Which one? This one.
Yeah, so eating together as community, and also the whole thing of African always eating in a round thing is to show sharing. And you can see how we take a bite and then you take a minute, make sure that the other person, you know, instead of eating, you know, when you are served in one bowl, you tend to just eat and focus on your food. But if you're eating as a community, you look at each other, you see the other person, you know.
In Africa, you don't just get your plate and just eat alone. You have to share with your brothers, sisters, showing love and unity through food.
Yeah. So it's like roasting, taking the beans and actually roasting them. If somebody read my book, they pretty much know me, except part of me that is still growing and is still finding itself. So I like that I hear things that were in my head, in my heart. The title, What They Meant for Evil, came from the biblical character Joseph. My life growing up in a nice village, war happening, losing my family, those actions that lead to killing of my family were evil plot against my people, which lead to me being a refugee, which lead to me to come to United States, which lead to me to write, and which lead to me to talk about issues of my heart. So in a sense, it's like, yeah, these things were meant for evil, yet somehow God or the Creator, I talk about, or redeem it in a way that, you know, and that's how I see suffering. Like, yeah, these things can happen, but they can be meant. Like that beautiful thing I told you in a Japanese culture where they take broken thing and put gold or diamond in between, and then say that now they thing is more precious because they have been meant back together. So in a sense, what they meant for evil was meant for evil, but have a different turn. And that's my story, and that's how I will always see it.